Jim, so here's what the inside of your Smith & Wesson 640 looks like. You got the hammers here, and here's what the hammer spring looks like. It fits in like this. There's a little stirrup that goes onto a pin right there on the hammer, and then it just falls down in here. Now, when you reinstall it, in a little while, I'll pull the trigger, and when I pull the trigger, the hammer will come down like this, and when it gets down to where it compresses that spring some, then I'll pull that little paper clip out of there. But for now, I set that aside. The Wilson Combat spring kit's got a 13, 14, and a 15-pound spring for the trigger return. And right now I've got the middle one, which is the 14, but I think I'm just going to try and take the 14 out and put the 13 in. Here's the 13 right here. And I found this tool called a Smithmaster by gunsmithertools.com, and it's got two ends. One end is a flat end like this, which is used to remove the spring. And then the other end, which has got the red here, is kind of shaped like a Bic pen. Like I was telling you, a Bic pen works pretty good. But this actually has a cutaway in the bottom, so you can fit it over the over this pin. So let's see how this works. I'm gonna see if I can compress this tool. Let's see which way fits in there the best. Okay, I guess I just popped that loose. Whoop, there it goes. Okay, so there's the 14-pound spring. I'll take that out and put it back in the little plastic envelope that it came in, so I don't get them confused. Here's the 13 pound, so I'm going to put the 13 pound in there. Now I'm going to see if I can use the other end of this thing and compress this thing down and get it to fit down over there. Guess I'm not pushing it far enough. Okay, let's see if that's got it down there. Okay, it's about halfway down. Now let me use this end. There. That was easy enough. Okay, so this tool right here makes it pretty easy. And it's from gunsmithertools.com. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you can't pull, the trigger won't come back on these unless you put the cylinder back on. And here's what the cylinder looks like apart. It goes together like this. And then this part goes into the gun. So I'm going to turn off the video, and because I just wanted to show you replacing that one spring. And that tool works really good. So what I'm going to do now with some CLP and a few Q-tips is just clean this out in here a little bit and put it back together, and we'll see what the trigger pulls like with that lightest spring, the 13-pounder. Okay, so I cleaned things out a little bit, put a little CLP on some stuff, and here's the mainspring. Now this one you can change in a vise. You put this end in a vise, and then you can push that cap down with your bare hands and pull this paper clip out, and then put the new spring on, and then push down real hard with your fingers until you push it down far enough that you can get that pin through the hole. And then it goes in here. There's a pin. There's a bar right there, a pin that the thing rides in. And now that I have the cylinder back in, I can pull the pull the trigger, and the hammer comes back. So I'm going to pull this back until it gets far enough compressed that I can pull this pull this paper clip out. It's a little bit tricky here. So let me pull this back. Okay. So now that's in there. Looks good. So now I'm going to put the side plate back on. Okay, so now I got the side plate back on. I used two different screwdriver bits. I used this small one for these two screws. This small one fits in there good. It's not quite as wide. It fits in there with very little play. And so I tightened those two down with that one, and then I used a second one, a little bit bigger one, that one right there, for the one that holds the cylinder in. So let's just make sure. Oh, that's nice. That feels good. I got to put the grips on, but I would say, Jim, based on that feel right there, if that feels good to me, and I mean the trigger is returning just fine, and I already tested that it will fire cartridges with this 8-pound hammer spring. So 8-pound hammer spring, and I would go ahead and tell them to use the 13-pound. Here's what you get. You get, that's the hammer spring, 8 pounds. There's just one of those, and then your trigger return springs. Here's trigger return 13 pound, 14, and 15. So I put the 14-pound in to start out with, and then I got decided today, well, let me go ahead and try this 13-pound one. And this is the thing that when you pull a trigger, this is the spring that returns the trigger back to that position right there. So you pull it, and that's returning just fine. So I would have them go ahead and put the lightest spring in, the 13-pound trigger return, and you only get this one hammer spring anyway, 8-pound. Man, that feels good. Huh. Now I want to get another one of these kits for the air weight. I like that. That feels really good, Jim. And I don't know, if you're interested in this tool, you can contact me about it. Somehow or other, I found it on the internet, but this makes it real easy to change that trigger return spring. You use this flat end to remove it, and then you use this cone-shaped end to put it back. Well, okay, so I put my grips back on. These are Uncle Mike's rubber grips, and actually the butt of the gun, the metal butt of the gun, stops about here, and so this part down here is basically just the grip, but it extends it to give you a three-finger grip on the gun. But I may look around and see if I can find a nice set of grips. Since I carry this hiking, I might see if I can find a pair that's just got the 2-finger, that in other words just comes down to the bottom of the frame, like you saw when the grips were off. And then that only gives you a 2-finger grip, but it also shortens the grip up by that much, which makes it a little bit more concealable and easy to carry. But it's fine just like this, but man, I'm telling you, it feels pretty good to me, man. I'm going to leave it just like that, and I'm going to order another kit for the other one, for the air weight, the 38 Special. Hope this helps.